and welcome back to another episode of the Shadow of the Apple podcast. Today has been, even though it's technically like 9:53, it's been a long week for both the Mets and the Yankees. So I guess let's not waste any time to it. It's been a rough week for both teams.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Different reasons for both, but not a lot of winning going on. I guess I'll just get right into it with the Yankees. They finished up a 7-game road trip, 3 in Detroit, 4 in Boston, where they only won 2 of those 7 games to put their record at, I believe, 500 in the month of June. But I'll start with the Detroit series, I guess. They lost the first game 5-3. Ali Sanchez RBI double. Ahmed Rosario hit a 2-run homer late to try and come back, but they just couldn't. Uh, Garrett Cole started 4 in 1 innings, 4 in 1 in third innings, 5 earned runs on 9 hits. So I remember we had this talk. I don't know if you remember I believe it was last episode when they started Elmer Rodriguez. It's like a 6 starter, spot starter to give
Mm-hmm.
everyone an extra day's rest. I don't know. We kind of talked about like why that would be. I don't think we talked about the effects that could have because it really didn't have any good effects. Almost everyone had a bad start afterwards. So they probably shouldn't go that route again of giving everyone a day's rest. Pitchers are, especially starting pitchers, they have their routines. They like having
What would you
normal
say is
amounts.
like a perfect amount of days for a pitcher to rest?
Well, typically they pitch every 5 days, so that's historically worked, and it's what all the teams do in the league, basically. Um, so I understand the idea of why they did the 6 starter, but uh, yeah, these guys, especially Cole, Garrett Cole has had a lot of issues in the past with like games starting late or whatever. So anyway, that's just I wanted to mention that because that was something we had talked about. But the next 2 games, the Yankees did win. Score of 4-3. Then they won a score of 4-2. Not anything too crazy happened in the second game, to be honest. It was Rodon's start, 3 runs in 5 and 3rd innings. They took the lead in the sixth on a Jazz go-ahead homer and also lost RBI double. And the third game of that series, it was Ryan Weathers versus maybe, possibly future Yankee Tarek Skubal. Um, Skubal went 6 innings, 4 runs, 2 home runs hit by Paul Goldschmidt, and then a 2-run homer uh, in the sixth inning, which was last inning, by Jason Dominguez. So it was good to see the offense, a very hurt offense, get to Skubal, back-to-back Cy Young winner. Um, so Goldie hit 2 home runs off him in the first and the third. Do you want to take a guess of who the last player was who hit 2 home runs off of Terry Skubal in the same game?
Ben Rice.
Nope. It was Paul Goldschmidt in 2021.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about now. Okay, makes
Oh,
sense.
yeah. Well, no, in general, the last player, not even for the Yankees, because he wasn't on the Yankees then. So, in general, the last player to hit 2 home runs in the same game off of Skubal was also Goldschmidt back in 2021.
I can't believe school was. I mean, I don't even remember him in 2021.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that could have been his rookie year. I forget, to be honest, but he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't the pitcher that he is now. He's definitely emerged
Yeah,
in the last few
I would
years.
say he really started getting noticed like 2024.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, man, that's pretty interesting. That it's Goldschmidt. I guess every good
Yeah,
pitcher has a
brother.
few guys who own them. So
Facts.
there's
Yeah,
also
bro.
the
Paul Goldschmidt. I mean, what he was on? Where was he on at that time? The Cardinals.
21 would be the Cardinals. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, got you.
There was also the Jazz lollipop incident, which probably not even
Yes.
worth going into. There's so much that has happened since then. Unless you want to, we can. But
I mean, like it was. I don't even know what you would consider it like an incident. Like I think
once
it
a
was just.
lot of people complain about it. Boone didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. Like I think there's worse things that a player could do on the field. Like I mean,
100%. Yeah.
like people like there's players who like chew bubble gum and they got gum in their mouth like while they're trying to catch a ball. So
Yeah.
like
I personally didn't really have an issue with it when I saw it. I was kind of shocked. Like, what is he doing? Not necessarily in like why is he doing this, but more so just like I've never seen it before. But I do see where people come from if they have an issue with it, and I don't think it's so much of just not he's not paying attention or anything, or not even like Boone had an issue with it mostly. He said because of like safety hazards, which I guess makes sense. If you have to dive and make a play, you're always told not to play with a lollipop in your mouth as a kid. But I think what most people had an issue with was just the fact that like it was a lollipop. It wasn't gum or seeds, which are always subtle and like in your mouth or in your back pocket. It was a lollipop, and they showed him, and he was like took it out of his mouth. He was like messing around with
Also,
both beard short.
also, like he might as well keep it in his mouth because, like, if you take it out and put it in your pocket, that's kind of low key, kind of gross.
Yeah, but I think that's a good point. That's kind of what people were saying. Like you have to keep it in your mouth. You can't put it in your pocket like a pack of gum or a cup of
Yeah,
seeds. So like I think that was the issue people had.
I can't believe
Um,
this is even a story.
yeah, it was weird. It was a thing. I had it written down because was before this series happened, so that's why I was going to just go over it. But yeah, I don't think it's really that big of a deal. He redeemed himself the next day. I'm pretty sure by hitting a homer. Uh, I'm pretty sure that was a go ahead 2-run homer on the second game. So it's really not an issue. I don't think anyone has thought about it in the last 4 days, to be honest, except for
Yeah,
us now talking about it. But uh, so that was that in Detroit. They took 2 of 3, and then they went to Boston. So I just want to set the table real quick going into the series, right? The Yankees are playing pretty solid without Aaron Judge so far. I mean,
yeah.
they're not playing amazing, but they're playing good enough
They're
baseball.
trailing. Like
Yeah,
they're trailing just above just above over. What's the word? Trailing over water.
he's treading over water.
Trending over water. Yeah, like I think they're like slightly above that. Like they're because I mean like there's still a talented team. There's still a lot of talented players that make this team what it is. So
Hmm.
it's like I'm not too surprised that the Yankees have still been playing well because it's a lot of it also too is because their pitching's been really well. Like their pitching's
Yeah.
been pretty. Their lineup is stacked, and obviously pitching will go a long way, especially depth with great pitching. So I
Hmm.
mean, I'm not too surprised that the Yankees have been playing well without him.
Well, that was before this series. They've been playing well before this series. I don't know. We'll get into what happened, but um, yeah. So they've been playing pretty decent without Judge and Stan, Fried, Grisham. Um, they just took 2 of 3 from the Tigers, who was a better team than the Red Sox. They beat Scooble. So the Yankees are on a high. The Red Sox just got embarrassed in Colorado. There was that game where they were up, what was it, 2-0 or whatever it was in the ninth, and Aroldis Chapman loaded the bases and gave a walk-off triple. So it was rough for the Red Sox coming into the series. So you'd imagine, right? You'd imagine the Yankees, first place in the AL East, best record in the American League, are coming in against the Red Sox, who have had an awful year. You'd expect, honestly, realistically, 3 or 4 or a sweep. That is not at all what happened. And I'm gonna be honest, not to like sound like in any way like I wanted this to happen or I knew it was gonna happen, but like it just had that feeling going in. It was like too perfect for the Yankees. Like a 4 game series, they're on a roll. They have their best starters against a really bad Red Sox team. It just felt too good to be true, and of course it was because they ended up getting
Yeah,
swept
the
in
Red
all four
Sox.
games.
You can never count out the Red Sox out against the Yankees. They're always gonna
Mm-hmm.
like play, at least
Oh yeah,
play
for
hard.
sure. Yeah, so I guess I'll just go into a recap on some of these games. There's really not too much to talk about with these, but Thursday night they lost 6-3. Cam
Well,
Schlittler started. What was
let me
that?
ask you before you get into the
Yeah,
games.
go ahead.
What is like what were the biggest themes from all four of these games that led to this sweep?
Um, well, I would say the offense definitely just disappeared. The starting rotation didn't have their best starts, but the biggest issue, you expect that sometimes. Players go into slumps, teams go into slumps. The biggest issue was defense. There were so many errors. I have a stat that I'll read at the end of it. I can say right now. So the Red Sox scored 21 runs in these 4 games. Only 12 of them were earned runs. So 9 of the 21 runs Boston scored were unearned runs because of errors. So it was, I would say that was the biggest issue to answer the question. But yeah, so Cam started that game. went 5 innings, gave up 4 runs, but 0 were earned. Um, Yankees made 4 errors in that game. The Red Sox scored 4 in the 5th inning. Those were the 4 unearned runs. Um, yeah, like it was rough. Ahmed Rosario had a ground ball hit to him at third. It was, hit really hard. I understand that, but I mean that's a play you gotta at least keep. It's a ball you gotta keep in front of you at least. But he lets it go right between his legs. Um, it would have been an inning-ending double play, but instead it set up the Red Sox to score. Caballero had a bad throw on a sac fly. This wasn't an error, but it was just another point of the defense being rough. He was in left field. This is the shortest left field in baseball. It's a monster. It wasn't even that deep of a fly ball for that left field, and the throw was so offline at the plate. Matt let a run score, and then Caleb Durbin ended up hitting a 2-run homer on the next at bat following Rosario's error, I believe it was. So it was just defense. That's it. Game two, where Warren started, 5 2/3. You have 5 runs. Those were, I believe, all earned. The offense was no hit through 5 1/3 innings. Spencer Jones broke it up in the sixth with a single, and I mean, that's just another rough game right there.
Damn.
Game three on Saturday, they lost 4-1. Garrett Cole start. You know the history of Garrett Cole and Fenway Park.
I
You
do.
used to love that
I
picture
do.
of Garrett
I do
Cole and
remember the Kermit curse.
yeah, I was gonna say you do love that picture of Garrett Cole and Kermit the Frog puppet in the
That
bullpen.
is, I mean, just what I mean. It's just an iconic picture.
Yeah, I
And
guess.
when you consider how he played in that game too, it's just an iconic baseball picture.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you sent that to me at least 25 times in the last 6 years,
And
5 years.
I don't know about all that. I mean, I don't think I've trolled you that hard with that
I've
picture.
seen it a lot
Definitely,
unwillingly,
you
but
trolled me harder with the fucking Edwin Diaz picture of him pointing up.
yeah, that is true. That was your profile picture for a very long time.
I think my profile picture for you was when I think it was Judge dropping the ball at center field. On my
Yeah,
last
I
phone.
mean,
I actually gotta add pictures on my new phone.
yeah, I chose that one of him pointing because I remember you were at that game,
Yes,
and then you started.
that's a great story for another episode, like
Yeah,
its
for
own
sure.
episode for sure. Because I was at that game. I was in Pittsburgh that summer for my well, I don't really do it as much anymore, and I'm probably not gonna do it this year. But almost every year we try to hit a new stadium, me and my dad. So we tried to hit Pittsburgh that year, and that was the game when they were up like 7-1, and the 7 line was there. So it was
Mhm.
just not a good night.
Yeah, that was an un unprecedented crash out the next day, but
That was like the start of the downfall that year. Like DeGrom got hurt, and then like that game happens. They lost the series, and they just never came back from that.
yeah, well, hopefully the Yankees can come back from this series.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
And also like the American League. Like I was talking about it with somebody. I'm like, it's so wide open. Like there's really no one, and like the teams that were supposed to be good just aren't that good. Like the Mariners were
Rangers.
supposed to be a lot better. They were obviously as good as they were last year. Um, and obviously there's still a whole lot of season left. There's still another half to play. So think people can heat up.
Mhm.
But like there's teams like the Tigers, and like Tigers were supposed to be good too, and they had Skubal, they brought back Verlander, and like they just haven't been that good. Like there's really like no one I could really say that could really match the Yankees. I think if there's any team I think that could low key knock them off in a series, it's maybe like Tampa, because Tampa just plays hard.
Mhm.
Um, and they're a pesky team, but they also haven't had a good history in the playoffs. So like at least last few years. So I really don't know. Like I really think this is a pretty wide open chance for the Yanks.
Yeah, for sure. And like you were saying, it's the American League is so crazy right now. The Rangers just took over first place in the West, I believe, yesterday.
Yeah,
But
and they're 42-42. They're a 500 baseball team.
yeah, that's insane. But so yeah, like you said with the Rays too being, only team you see knocking the Yankees out. I agree with that fully, especially if it's at Tropicana Field, which is a big part as to why the Yankees just need to take that number one seed. Um, but also Toronto as well. I mean, obviously they gave us issues last year, so
Yeah,
if,
but
if, if they can sneak in and face the Yankees, who knows?
I don't know. I mean, Toronto is like they're 39 and 45, and like they also like there's not a lot of time for these teams that aren't playing well to buy. Like and like if you have a record like the Orioles or the Blue Jays right now who are like 39 and 45, 46, like
Hmm.
you're probably looking to sell.
Yeah, I agree with you. Except when you look at the way the playoffs work these days, and especially with the American League being so weak right now, 6 teams make it. So 3 division winners, and then there's 3 wild cards.
Correct?
When you look at the West, the Rangers you said are a 500 team and they're in first place. As of now, I'd assume none of the other West teams are in a wild card spot. So the
Well,
3 wild card spots for
well,
the American League would be who?
well. Seattle actually is listed as the third wildcard team on
Really?
MLB.com. They're at 42 and 43 with
Okay, I
uh
was
with
wrong. That's crazy.
with the Astros half a game out, and then the A's a game and a half out. So
Okay.
like so I guess like I think any team from like Houston to like maybe Boston, Loki kind of has a chance to still do something
Yeah, I mean
like
the
playoffs.
Red
Like,
Sox
mm-hmm.
probably didn't have a chance before this series started, but obviously they just added 4 wins, so they're probably closer back in.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, the league's weak, so they have a chance.
they're listed at
Um,
4.5 games out, and the Orioles are only three. Like these teams suck. They're not that
yeah,
good, but like it's not they're not that far out.
yeah, and I mean the Blue Jays have a good team too, so I could really see them just going on a run. They've been dealing with injuries too this year. I could see them going on a run and just taking a wild card spot.
If you're a team though that's like the Blue Jays who are like a few, they're a decent amount of games under 500, but they're only a few games out. What do you even like? Do you buy or sell? Do you stay the same? Like, what do you even do in that sense?
I don't know if I'm correct with this, but I think that it feels like every year the deadline is being pushed back a few days. I don't know if that's on purpose, if there's a reason for that, but I think it's honestly because of these teams, because of the new format. So many teams think they have a chance when they really don't. So
And they don't.
they're trying to keep pushing the deadline back as far as possible for these teams to figure it out. So I think it's gonna be a situation kind of like the Mets too, where they'll just kind of wait until that last week, the last few days, and all those trades are going to happen on August 2nd, August 3rd.
Can they just fucking trade everybody, bro? I don't give a fuck at this point, bro. Like, we already traded David Peterson. That was
Yeah, I
another
did
big
see that.
I guess that's another
Hmm.
like thing we could talk about is that they did make their first
Yeah.
trade.
All right. Well, let me finish the Yankees recap so we can get to the Mets. Guys, obviously,
Yeah.
there's more to talk about there. So yeah, that was a Garrett Cole on Saturday. 4 earned runs. They lost 4-1. The one run was Max Schumann's first home run as a Yankee.
Let
Yoshida hit a home run on the first at bat for the Red Sox.
let
Anthony Sealer, a guy who, sorry, what?
let's if it's I sorry to cut you off, but let's talk about Garrett Cole a little bit. So
Yeah, for sure.
I was listening to ESPN and they were talking about Garrett Cole and how he people I think have too high expectations for Garrett Cole right now, and I don't know if
Hmm.
it's I don't know if this is a way to I guess not defend Garrett Cole, but to give him some kind of lenience. But the fact that when ESPN was talking about it, and their reason was like he's not playing that well because he's coming off of Tommy John, and that's true.
Hmm.
Like a lot of guys who do come off of that surgery, they're not as sharp, and it does take some time to come back. So, I'm curious if you feel like that does play a role into Garrett Cole not being the sharpest so far.
Yeah, he's had 7 starts since he's come back, and honestly, his first few were his best. I feel like his starts have gotten progressively, not really terrible, but worse. Um, since his first like 2, 3, whatever, however many it was, are really good. Um, yeah, so I do think the Tommy John plays a part in it. They say that location is like the last thing that a pitcher gets back during the recovery process, which you kind of see with Cole. Like in this start, um, location was probably his biggest issue. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to use it as an excuse. He's the ace of the team, but yeah, I mean that's what I would say. I haven't really seen anything to make me worry, so I'm thinking we're just gonna roll with it, and he'll find himself. I mean, his first few starts were really good, so I'm sure that'll be back at some point this year. And also, you gotta remember he didn't pitch all of last year, so it could be a little fatigue too. That could be affecting it. The last time he pitched on a regular 5 days rest was in October of 2024. Now, in I believe it was May, he came back 2026. Over a whole year and a half later, he is now back to pitching on that every 5 days and trying to get back into that groove.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, where was I? Oh yeah, so Yoshida hit a home run in the first for the Red Sox, the first at bat. Anthony Siegler, a player who I really like, met him a whole bunch of times. He's a really great guy. It sucks that he's having success with the Red Sox, but good for him for having success because he was blocked in the Yankees organization. He hit his first career home run in the second inning off of Garrett Cole. Pretty cool name to have your first home run come off of.
Yeah.
But Sunday, the Yankees lost in 10 innings, 5-4. Rodon started that game, 5 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, but gave up 2 runs, 6 strikeouts. The Yankees were no hit through 7 and 1/3 inning. They tied it in the ninth against Aroldis Chapman. I believe Wilyer Abreu had 2 errors. I believe that's who it was in this game, which was kind of shocking. I believe both of those errors, let the Yankees tie the game in the ninth, and then also let them take the lead in the 10th, in the top of the 10th inning. But I'm just trying to see one thing real quick. I can't find it, but yeah. So the Yankees took advantage of the Red Sox bad defense to tie it and then take the lead. They're up 4-2 in the 10th inning. But they ended up getting walked off in the 10th. Off Fernando Cruz, his stuff was just not there. He throws a nasty splitter, and it was just not. It wasn't splitting. It felt like this whole series there was like a third force involved somewhere, and you just knew the Yankees were not winning.
Dude,
Like they
I hate when the splitter doesn't split, man.
it's awful.
It sucks. But go continue.
Um, yeah, it was just I don't even know how to explain the series. To be honest, it was just shocking, rough. Really no excuses for it, but on the bright side, you have Grisham coming back, and Ryan McMahon, who are both gonna fix the defense, which has been the biggest issue in the last week or so. Um, Grisham's your leadoff guy. The Yankees have had Ahmed Rosario and Jazz Chisholm try leading off in the last week. That's not really working, so it's gonna be good to have the leadoff guy back. To have someone who's a great center fielder. You have Grisham in the lineup. You push Bellinger to left. Bellinger's the best left fielder in baseball. But when the center fielder's in here, Bellinger has to move to center to fill in the other positions. Ryan McMahon, great defender at third. Not the best bat, but the defense is honestly what the biggest issue is, like I said earlier. So having these guys come back will help out a lot. So, I mean, terrible sweep. That's not much more to say. Listen, when you have a 4-game sweep in Boston, it sucks enough. But when your best performer is Paul Blackburn, who pitched in three
Yo,
games, who pitched in 3 games, 4 innings, and gave up 0 runs, that. There's not really many words you can even use to describe that. But losing these 4 games is going to cost the team from the season's end. You're fighting for the best record in your division and the league and all of Major League Baseball. I'm pretty sure I said this a while ago in one of the episodes, but the Yankees have not lost a series in the playoffs against a lower seeded team during the Boone era. So
yeah,
basically,
yeah, yeah.
so
Because
that you know I'm assuming home field advantage plays. I mean, I know home field advantage plays a huge part in that. Playing most of the games in a series in the Bronx helps the team significantly. Almost the whole team plays better at home.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think like the teams they've played because I'm trying to think because they've played a lot of the teams they played in the first round. How many of those series were teams from the American League Central?
Most of them were. I mean, 2024 division series with the Royals, championship series against the Guardians.
That's the only wild card. I think that's the only wild card team they played, right? Because I think all the other teams they might have played were AL Central division winners. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
2022, they played against the Guardians. I'm pretty sure the Guardians played in the wild card that year, though. I could be wrong.
The Guardians, but they were a 3 seed, like they were like a division winner. They just played Tampa because
okay, yeah, you're right. I forgot they did that. So
yeah, that is interesting because I mean they haven't I don't know, they haven't played like a team. I'd say like they haven't run into like a hot like wild card team. I don't know if that's what's going to be this year, but like you you definitely never know come October. I mean, a lot can change in October. So we'll see what happens.
So that's why that home field advantage is so important. So just to be the number one seed in the American League, take advantage of a weak league, try and take the easier path to the World Series. Much easier than last year. Obviously, you had to get through. Barely got past the Red Sox. Couldn't get past the Blue Jays. After the Blue Jays, you would have had to get past the Mariners. So much easier this year, as of now, is what it looks like.
Yeah, American League was like the lot last year.
High hopes, but you could try and get the best record in all of baseball. That way, if you get to the World Series, you're playing most of the games in the Bronx there too. But these 4 games will hurt them at the end of the season if they don't have the top seed by a game or two, or a game 2, 3, or 4. You look at this series against this not great Red Sox team.
Yeah, man, they just gotta stack the wins up, man. They just gotta stack the wins up and beat bad teams. Like they gotta take advantage of those series that, like, for example, like those series against like the Royals, for example. You just gotta beat them. Like you're better. The Yankees know that they're better than these teams, and they gotta do what they gotta do, which is just get the job done. They got those wins. You know, like you drop a game or two that could mean something come October if one team's if let's just say the Yankees are in the World Series and they're playing another team that might have had more wins than them. So they won't get actually, if both teams are the 1 seed and they're in the World Series, it just depends on record, right?
Yeah, it goes by record.
Okay, so yeah. So like it really could just depend on that. Come down the line. You really never know that it might matter when it's all said and done.
Yeah, we saw that last year where the Yankees had the same exact record as the Toronto Blue Jays, but they didn't win the division, and they had to get through the wild card. And they faced them in the division series and didn't have home field because of their, I believe it was the head-to-head record. So if the Yankees would have just won one extra game that season against a bad team, which I'm sure they had plenty of losses against bad teams, they would have. I'm pretty sure they got swept in Miami last year.
They did get swept in Miami, yeah.
So they would have. That's the first game in my mind. If they would have won one of those games, they would have won the AL East, and who knows how last October would have went. But
I do think the Blue Jays were probably the best team.
Yeah, I do agree with that. But you saw the way they did play at home in that series, significantly better than they played on the road.
Playoffs in general.
Yeah. So there's a lot to talk about there. Took a while. We're about to get to the Mets, but I just want to say one thing real quick. Aaron Judge is out. Stan's been out for a while. You need people to step up. And it was Paul Goldschmidt for a while. He was helping the Yankees win some games, like, that 2-homer game against Skubal. But the guys who you really need to be consistent and step up are Ben Rice and Cody Bellinger, who are the 2 best bats currently on the roster.
I would say those are the most consistent bats on the team.
Yeah, well, they went a combined 1 for 28 this series.
Oh, never mind then.
Combined 1 for 28 with 2 walks.
So I guess to rephrase that, across the season they've been probably the most consistent batters.
Yeah, they're both having great years. since Judge went down on June 2nd, Ben Rice is hitting 202 with 5 homers and 9 RBI. Bellinger's hitting 239 with 3 homers and 11 RBI. So that's only 20 RBI in basically a calendar month for your two best hitters who are currently on the roster. That's kind of, you're not gonna win games that way. You need your best hitters to step up, and of course, the fact that Judge isn't in the lineup and stands not in the lineup to protect them. These are two lefties who are going to get much harder pitches to hit, especially Ben Rice. The year he's having, the year he had last year, he's rising up there as one of the best hitters in the game. So without Darren Judge's protection, he's going to get much harder pitches to face and much harder at bats, which is what we have seen over the last month and especially this series. But I guess that'll do it with the Yankees. Took a while, but that was 7 games. We're on to back home. Start a 3-game series against Detroit tonight. Tuesday is going to be Schlittler versus Skubal. That should be exciting.
That should be,
And
bro. That's gonna be good. I'm gonna have to tune
yeah,
into
and
it.
then after that, July 4th weekend, they face the Twins at home. So, you know, you'd like to expect 4 out of 6 at least. I'm sure, the Yankees will probably have something silly going on, but I guess it's time to talk to the Mets.
Oh, the Mets. What? Whoa, the Mets, the Mets, the Mets. Oh, the Mets. What do we like? Where do we even begin, bro? Like, we could start from like with the Norway fans at City Field while they were getting fucking them doing a whole like conga line while they gave up a 3-run homer.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Um, you could talk about the Peterson getting traded after he stunk it up. He stunk it up against the Cubs, got traded to the Cubs, and then when he pitched for the Cubs, also gave up a home run with the
His
Cubs.
first pitch, right?
Yep. So, I mean, you could talk about that. I mean, I don't really know what to talk about because like it was just it was so shitty, but like it just I've gotten so used to it. Like the Mets have been, I feel like they've been waving the white flag for a bit, even with Lindor back, because Lindor did come back in the Cubs series, but like I don't know, I think this team is far beyond repair at this point. I think we know what this team is. They can't really score that well. Uh, the pitching, was probably the brightest spot at the earliest points of the year, but um, the pitching can only do so much when the team is averaging like 2 runs a game. I mean, they did hit a lot better um, in the last series against the Philadelphia. Uh, Juan Soto got robbed of a home run. Like there was so many like just bad things that happened in this week. They're tied for the third worst record in Major League Baseball. Um, yeah, man, this team, it's just like it's another week of Mets baseball, bro. At this point, I don't know. There's not a lot to say. I think Mendoza, um, getting fired, um, should have been done a while ago. Like you're doing this now when the season's fucking over. They could have done this in May when there was still hope and there was still a chance to maybe save the season. And I really don't think this is Mendoza's fault. This is David Stern's fault. This is his fault for taking away his guys that he meshed with and he was able to get to a National League Championship series, and completely replacing it with and it being such a quick change in such a short span. Like and you make he's made very just decisions that just make you question what the hell is wrong with him. You're going to question Pete Alonso and you're going to say, oh, he's getting old. He can't really play first base that well. But you are going to play a guy who's never played first base before and sign him to a 2-year deal. What sense does that make? And the fact that the fact that he shouldn't have a job. He shouldn't. He shouldn't have a job. Like David Stearns should not have a job. And I hate that Mendoza has been is unfortunately a scapegoat because I really don't think it's like entirely his fault. Like, yeah, the lineups weren't the best. Sure, maybe some of the bullpen decisions weren't the best. But you know what, man? He had his guys. He had his guys. He had his guys that he meshed with and he worked with, and they played well. Now he has a whole different team, and like I understand firing him and bringing somebody else that you would think maybe he could mesh with these group of guys better, but they could have done it a month ago. That would make way more sense to do it a month ago. You're gonna do it now and the season's over. Like the Orioles fired their manager like sometime last year, but they fired him in May. So like you fire him in May, it's like all right, maybe you'll see what you can do. They should have fired him a long time ago. A long time ago. And I hate that we had to fire him because Mendoza, he was the manager for 2024 Mets. I love the 2024 Mets. They're probably my second favorite Mets team. You know, like it sucks. It really sucks because I really liked Mendoza, and he was a good guy. Like I think when it comes on a manager perspective, he was a good guy, and I don't know. I'm just disappointed on how this all ended with Mendoza because I don't think it's all to blame on him. I firmly believe this is all David Stern's fault.
I agree. I don't think he was a terrible manager. Of course, I didn't watch him every day to see the decisions he made in game, but he didn't. He wasn't he wasn't an awful manager. He was even with the Yankees for a while. So he was a good coach for the Yankees. So I know obviously that could translate into a great manager. But um, yeah, I do agree. A lot of it is with Stearns. I mean, you've been talking about this since basically the first episode. I'm sure if we go back to the first episode, there's complaints about David Stearns in there.
I fucking
It's
hate him, bro. I hate him so much. He's ruined my Mets, bro. I hate him.
Yeah, it just the more you look back at it, the more it just makes no sense to rip apart the team the Mets had. I mean, yeah,
Look,
I don't understand.
look, you want to get rid of McNeil because you had other guys. That's fine. I get it. I love you. Obviously, you know that I love Jeff McNeil.
Hmm.
So I was sad to see him go, but it made sense to let him go. Trading Brandon Nimmo made no sense. He just made like a great catch yesterday, and Marcus Simeon has played better recently. I'm not gonna talk because we were talking about Marcus Simeon just a few episodes ago. He has played a lot better, for sure.
Yeah,
But Brandon Nimmo is still Brandon Nimmo. Like he's still the Brandon Nimmo. Like the Texas Rangers Brandon Nimmo is exactly what you're getting out of him. And there was a point where he was hitting like 290. So like it just that trade made no fucking sense. You get rid of one big contract with another contract that's low key worse. And then okay, Diaz, all right. You know what? He really didn't want to be there. He's a snake, whatever. The one that really pisses me off out of everything is Pete Alonso. And you know what? If you're gonna complain about him not playing first base well and not willing to pay him, there was another motherfucker in Japan you could have paid less and you would have gotten good production out of, and he's playing well on the White Sox. It makes no sense. I don't understand the decisions he made, and it is absolutely I blame 90% of why the Mets suck on him.
yeah. I mean, I think a big part of it. I also kind of remember you mentioning something like this. Is he wasn't bad before he came to the Mets. Stearns, I'm talking about, but that was because he was with a small market team. Now he's with the Mets, who can spend, and it seems like he doesn't really know what to do with that. It's like he has all this money, he doesn't know what to do with it.
And you know what's the worst part about the Mets is that I can't escape them. Like there's been so many other things. Like I'm gonna be real with you, it's been hard to watch the Mets. Like I really haven't watched them, and like it's been hard to do the podcast because it's like I don't really want to talk about this team a lot because the team's what is there else to really talk about? But obviously, show must go on, and like the thing that sucks about it is that because the Mets are a big market team, even though it doesn't really feel like it, it really has never felt like it, honestly. But the fact that the Mets are a big market team, you can't escape them. Yo, ESPN had a whole segment about them. Why? We know that the team sucks. We know that it's over. Like we don't have to talk a million times about why the Mets have spent almost $400 million on a crappy baseball team just for them to be nothing. Like it's it sucks, dude. Like I don't like I they're because they're such a big team and because their failure is such their failure is impeccable. Because hear me out. You spend $400 million. Like the Rockies being bad, the Royals being bad. Like obviously because they're smaller markets, they're not gonna talk about it. But because they don't do anything to be good or try to be good, they're not gonna talk about them. But because the Mets are trying everything in their power to be good, and nothing will go their way because of poor the business decisions. It's it sucks. It sucks. I hate it, bro. The Cubs series was bad because they were winning multiple of those games too, and they had chances to win. But the Mets just like this team doesn't have really the talent. The guys even they signed like they weren't like what were they gonna do? Like Jorge Polanco had a really good postseason. He had one great month, and they got him a good contract on the Mets. But like he wasn't really even playing that well before the injury. So, and Luis Robert, where the hell has he been? I remember when he hit that walk off against the Pirates in Game 2. Man, that feels like forever ago. Like seriously, that feels like
It
forever ago.
does.
Like everything that has happened with this team, I really thought we were going to be like a fun team. After I thought maybe we were going to be a great team after that game, but I thought we would be a fun team. I remember literally at the beginning of the year, I wasn't even asking them for the Mets to be good. I was really just asking for them to be entertaining. Just be a fun team. I'm not asking you guys to be the best team in baseball. I'm not asking you to be the best team in the National League. I'm not even asking you to be the second best team in the National League. Just give me a reason to be excited about the Mets. And they failed. They failed to do that this year. And it sucks even more because we don't know what's gonna happen next year. I saw David Ross talking about how he wants to manage the Mets.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I also don't even know who took over. Um,
I don't even. I'll be true. I don't know either, but I know it's an interim manager.
yeah,
But we'll see, bro. Honestly, you could have hired Alex Cora in like May. I would have been cool with
yeah,
that. I would have been cool with Alex Cora because you know what? Maybe his time with the Red Sox ended, but you know what? He still has one. Maybe like sometimes guys after a while they just need a new place. Like another we could talk about another sport. Phil Jackson's obviously Phil Jackson's one of the you can't really compare Phil Jackson to other managers who haven't won as much as him, but he was he coached the Bulls in the 90s with Jordan. And he also coached the Lakers with Kobe. So like he left the Bulls because his time with the Bulls was just over. Like he just needed a new scenery. I think Alex Cora is probably going to get another job, and he's probably going to do well at that new job because he just needs a new set, a new place to work with, a new group of players. Like that's what I was thinking. But like and like I don't know, like and when you look at the lineup right now, like the team can only do so much because like who are you really you're like who are you relying on to score runs at this point? Because you got rid of your biggest power hitter, your biggest guy to score really get runs on the board, which is Alonso, and he may not have been the best hitter in certain situations. But you know what, dude? He does what Pete Alonso is doing right now. He's doing what we've been doing with the Mets. He's been batting like 240 and he's had like 20 plus home runs. Like he's having a Pete Alonso season. Getting rid of him in the lineup just cuts us such a huge part. You were banking on so many guys to be good. It is crazy looking back when we first got this opening day lineup and roster, just how many guys they were banking on to be good.
yeah. That's a good point. Again, I remember that in the first episode when we were kind of looking at the rosters, making some predictions. But you know, I was just thinking about this. When you look at other managers who were fired this year, the Phillies fired their manager and the Red Sox fired their manager. This both happened, I believe, like April, May. I'm not exactly sure the dates, but I think they're both April, mid late April. Anyway, both teams fired their managers early in the season. Um, One team has continued to not play well, except for their last four games. Another team has played much better, and I believe the Phillies are pretty close to taking over the NL East from the Braves with Don Mattingly as their manager. So, both teams fired managers. Didn't really work out for one team. Another team worked out for. I think the manager can hold a team back. If a team is really good, um, they'll play good either way. If they're not a great team, They're not going to play great either way. But firing the manager can be a wake up call for a team. We've seen it happen. It's happening with the Phillies. But yeah, if the Mets would have fired Mendoza all the way back in April or May, like you said, they could have had a chance to turn the season around. But now at this point, it just seems pointless and like
Yes.
lack
Yes.
of better words,
Yes.
it almost feels like performative. Like, why are we doing this now? Like,
Now,
there's
yes.
no reason.
At that point, like they had a window to fire him.
Yeah, like at this point, I mean, again, I don't know. I'm not in the clubhouse. I'm not in the front office. I'm not even a Mets fan, but it just feels like at this point, why not just try and ride it out with him the rest of the season, see
Yo,
what
I'm glad you're
happens.
not a Mets fan.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I try to think about that. Trying to think about what could have been, but
Yeah, dude. It's I'm glad I have other teams to root for. I'm glad I don't just watch baseball. I think that's the best thing I can take out of this baseball season. I think the Mets chose, it sucks because like they chose the best and the worst time to be asked. They chose the worst time to be asked because there's a lockout next year, and they chose the best time to be asked because there's been so many other things that will get me through other things. Like the World Cup will get me until training camp and college football. So you know what? At this point, it is what it is, dude. It sucks. There's nothing you can really do about it. The Mets aren't good.
yeah. I mean, there's really not much to say, to be honest. It's just again, why wait this long? It's just it, it's like it feels almost insulting to the team too. Like you didn't want to give them the fair chance all the way back when the struggles began, but you waited until now when it's not, not by the numbers. It's not over, but it feels like it's over. So it's just a really odd move at this point in the season. But I don't know. I guess
Who knows?
yeah. I mean, there's just really not much to say. It's almost like laughable to be honest.
It is. Like that's you. The Mets are a comedic team. They really are. They can never like when they're bad, they're a comedic, and like it was like a bunch of punches in the balls the entire week on the like. It's like beating the dead horse, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, this so far has been basically 47 minutes and 30 seconds of us just talking about hilarious baseball teams and hilarious baseball moves and games. I mean,
Yeah,
nothing we've talked about even feels real. Like it's all just
yeah, and like the Yankees though I will be okay. Like they're gonna be fine. Like
yeah. I don't. I'm not worried really about anything. I didn't even mention like I was thinking about it too. Like there's so much to talk about. I didn't even mention the fact that the bench is cleared during one of the
oh
games, and
yeah, dude, that was
that Jazz was
the weakest clearing ever.
yeah, and the Jazz was ejected yesterday too. Like those. I mean, honestly, I do want to just real quick, just want to get later. Jazz getting ejected, I think, was really rough in that spot. He had a real argument that was a really close check swing for the home plate umpire to ring him up and the inning, call him out like that, and not check with first or third base. It's kind of crazy, but I think Jazz got his ejection not even for arguing; it was for throwing his helmet, which players do all the time. I understand. There's kind of I forget. I don't know if it's a real rule or an unwritten rule, but you're not supposed to throw your equipment or you can get ejected. I never see it happen. Happens all the time. No one gets ejected, but Jazz gets ejected for it. Getting ejected in that spot, he's leading off the game. The team's hurt. He's honestly one of the best hitters in the lineup right now. Getting ejected there is, I believe Anthony Rizzo said it. Pretty sure the word used is immature. I don't know if I fully agree with that, but I mean they're friends, so if he's calling him out like that, maybe it is a much bigger deal for a clubhouse. But I guess we can go back to the Mets. I just wanted to mention that real quick before I forgot.
Yeah, man, yeah, it's rough. It was a rough week. It was a rough week. It really was.
Yeah,
But you know what, bro? There will always be better days. There always will be better weeks. It was a rough last few days for me personally. But you know what? We move.
yeah, for sure.
One series at a time, one game at a time. We. It's really just been my fault, honestly, that we haven't been doing games. Like we've had chances to do series by series. We need to lock in. We do
Yeah,
need to
well,
lock in.
I mean, it is a lot our fault because I mean, it's not necessarily like our fault. It's not like we're choosing not to, but it's like we have other things going on. But it is the schedules are just not overlapping well the last few weeks,
Yeah, yeah,
so
because
that is a big part of it.
the Mets like were finishing their series the same time the Yankees were starting their series.
Yeah, so it's been really weird, but I would assume the Yankees and the Mets are both starting a three-game series tonight.
Yes, so
So,
Mets are gonna be playing. They're gonna be heading over to Toronto, I believe.
all
We
right.
will be playing the Toronto Blue Jays, in a three-game series. We will have Sean Manaea versus Trey Savage, Noel McLean versus Kevin Gausman, and Freddie Peralta versus Patrick Corbin. So, hey man, 7-0 road trip, bro. Let's do it. Anything
Yeah,
could happen, right? Baseball is a marathon, not a sprint.
anything can happen, just like the 2026 Boston Red Sox sweeping the New York Yankees. So,
Yeah, man. Dude, baseball is a weird ass sport, man. It really is. There's not like baseball is just such a unique sport. It really is.
yeah,
But
I mean, it's what other sport has people running around a diamond and hitting balls with sticks? So,
none. Oh, do you want to count cricket?
well, cricket, yeah, but they're not running around a diamond, so I'm not going to count that.
Yeah. All right. I think that will do it. We were here for 50, almost 52 minutes
Hmm.
talking about how bad our teams are.
Yeah. So hopefully we can do the next one on time. Hopefully it works out. But yeah, for now, I guess let's go Yankees.
And I guess let's go, Mets. All right, man. So thank you for another episode. And we will see you all in episode 19. So thank you very much, y'all.
Hmm.